You know who else is fired up for the upcoming NFL draft is none other than Jim Irsay.
Yeah, he is.
Your guys' favorite band, Jim Irsay, what is it, the Tree Leaners?
Yeah, the Tree Leaners.
Yeah, so
it's a really great name.
According to Zach Kiefer of The Athletic, Colts owner Jim Irsay prefers the, quote, draft and develop route at quarterback this year in the draft. They're obviously picking at number 4 in the draft, and so the hope is that that is the plan, that you are going to draft a quarterback at number 4, which seems... Yeah, that'd be a nice thought if there was somebody there that was worth taking. And I would also like to point out, let's not forget that Gardner Minshew is still on the roster. And when that guy gets an opportunity to play, he usually plays well. And there is a previous relationship with Shane Steichen, the former offensive coordinator in Philadelphia when Gardner Minshew was there. But Jim Irsay apparently prefers the draft and develop route after all the one-and-done retread quarterbacks they've had over the past 4 or 5 years. So, congratulations to Colts fans. That's the plan in place.
The question is, can they get the guy they want sitting at number 4? You know, they can't trade up to 2 because, you know, Houston's not going to trade back when they need a quarterback and they're a division rival. So would Carolina be willing to trade back to 4 and get the guy they want, which probably doesn't make much sense considering they just traded all the way to 1 just to get the guy they want. You know, David Tepper's in a similar boat trying to solve the quarterback problem through the draft. So Arizona seems to be the one team that, all right, if the Colts like Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, and those 2 guys are both there, assuming both Stroud and Bryce Young are gone, then you probably have to trade up to 3 to at least assure yourself you get one of those 2 guys. Otherwise, Las Vegas, maybe the Titans, there could be another player that we're not thinking of that ends up trading up and taking a quarterback at 3. Maybe Seattle, who's sitting there at 5, like maybe they would kind of be, you know, looking to do that if the right guy was there at 3. So you wonder if the Colts really do want to draft one, and that's the route they want to go. If they shouldn't be calling Arizona, although I'm not sure if they'll have issues getting a hold of people depending on the burner phone situation and whatever's going on out there in Phoenix. So.
Yeah, it seems like Arizona might want to sit tight and just not stay in the news for a little while. Just sit there
keep being aggressive, man.
You know, take Will Anderson and then just, you know, we just move on with our lives. Just go ahead and sit that one out.
That's what it is?
Well, maybe, possibly. I mean, there's, you know, it seems like things are heating up there for some of the stories that have come out. But I just think the idea that the Colts, it felt like, had a window of opportunity.
It was there.
They had a championship window, and then all of a sudden Andrew Luck decided to walk away about a week before the season started, and they did the best they could with Jacoby Brissett. They brought in Phillip Rivers. We know what happened with Carson Wentz. Matt Ryan was a disaster. It felt like they had a window of opportunity where they were a legitimate contender in the AFC. And then there was the talk that there was 7 Colts players at the Pro Bowl the year that they got eliminated in Week 18 during the clown out where everybody dressed as a clown in Jacksonville. And you had a bunch of those players like Jonathan Taylor and them sitting there at the Pro Bowl going, why are we here? Like, why are we not what is happening? Why did we not make the playoffs? Why did we not make a legitimate run? And it's almost like Irsay and them realize we're not even close to being the team that we were in that window. So, yeah, let's just try and draft a guy. But if he's not there, to Brady's point, what's that going to do? You're just drafting a quarterback just to draft a quarterback? Like, if you don't believe in Levis, if you don't believe in Anthony Richardson or anybody else and the top 2 guys are gone, it just feels like the Colts' window of opportunity closed, and they can say whatever they want. I don't see them anywhere close to being a contender for at least the next couple of years.
There are always going to be, I guess, unique perspectives on how you approach building your team. And obviously the Colts had built put their fortunes on Andrew Luck when they drafted him, but they also had some real good talent at the receiver position. I mean, they were pretty deep. Right now, their best receiver is Pittman?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not, in my estimation, they're not a very deep team at the receiver's position. And so if you don't have the type of weapons around a guy, I mean, they even had success when Phillip Rivers came in for that last season. And it kind of went downhill from there. You had Jonathan Taylor, who was arguably the best player in the league, let alone just the best running back. I mean, he was playing at a very high level for like a 2-year period of time. It just doesn't seem as though, for one, their defense was good as well, but it just doesn't seem as though they are structured to be able to have sustained success right now. Or maybe they are, and maybe they're close, and maybe they are just a player or two or a coach away from developing into a better, a more competitive team. But it's all about philosophies. And if Jim Irsay and his decision makers in Indianapolis are feeling as though that the quarterback position in the draft could be one that changes their fortunes, then that's what you go with. I don't know that you ever have a draft pick where you say we're just drafting them to draft them. I think there's too much value there in terms of getting a player coming out of college. There's too much value there to just say we're drafting them to draft them. And your spots are limited. So you got to try to hit on like free agency, the draft, you got to try unrestricted, or unsigned, after the draft is over, or free agents that are out there sitting on their couch. You got to try to hit on every single person you bring into your building, even if they're backups. You got to try to hit. So I don't subscribe to draft just the draft. I don't know, but I don't know how far they are from good. They're like a conundrum. I don't know how far they are from good, but I don't know how far they are from bad either.
Would you guys rather be the Houston Texans the next 3 to 5 years or the Indianapolis Colts?
Ooh.
So I'd rather be Houston. Because I may end up with the best quarterback in the draft. If Bryce Young is there and he's the guy that Houston goes with, I'd rather take my chances with that than whatever Jim Irsay is going to put together in between, sets at whatever venue he's playing at with his team and his band.
Here's the thing about Jim Irsay, and we can say whatever we want to say about him and the Treeliners, but look, when they've drafted a quarterback, they've done well. Peyton Manning, Hall of Famer, right? Won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck was on a path to be one of the best in the league. Maybe at some points, was what you consider a top 5, quarterback. He kind of had that young budding star to him, right? He just decided to hang it up, before I think obviously the organization was ready for that, and that's really what started this tailspin of them trying to look for quick fixes. And going the veteran route to try to fix that. So they've had a good track record of at least drafting and having that guy be a dude, be a stud. But this one's it feels a little different, right? Because with the Luck pick, at least they sucked for Luck, right? Like that was what they did that year when Manning got hurt. And then they just became the worst team in the league to set themselves up to have the number 1 overall pick.
It's kind of insulting to Curtis Painter, isn't it? He had to be the guy. Wait, listen, we want to be so bad. Curtis, you're up. We'd like to have the next great quarterback, so they put Curtis Painter in.
He didn't have to suck.
Yeah. Well, and then there was a number of quarterbacks. It wasn't just Curtis that played that year. And there was a lot of guys who ended up, going on IR and sitting out. It wasn't just Peyton. But you get my point.
Yeah.
They're not in that position now. Like they had that chance. Maybe Jim Irsay was on a tour, singing when Chicago tried to trade out of the number 1 spot. Maybe they weren't really sure what they were doing yet. But now they sit at 4, and they couldn't end up getting a guy that they like, but they're not in love with, and we'll see how that works out. But the bottom line is whoever they draft the quarterback, the offensive line has to play the way it was playing a couple of years ago and not how it looked last year. And they struggled mightily up front.
They got a lot of money invested in that O-line, right? Because I know.
Yeah, they do. And we kind of tend to forget, Jonathan Taylor's a hell of a running back.
Yeah.
But not the way the offensive line played last year. It really didn't matter who was playing quarterback because of how poorly they protected.